To me, it's very meditative, and I just look at all the people who have come before me, who have really contributed to the music. They were just in constant study, they were constantly writing, constantly reading, and I think it's very important to be diligent with that. Practicing is very important for me. It's more than just maintaining a relationship with my instrument and being proficient. There's a lifetime of study and a lifetime of history, more than a lifetime of history to learn. My father is from Sicily, he's an executive chef, and my mother is a school teacher, originally from Israel. They met in Israel when my father was traveling, cooking in different restaurants, and then they moved to New York, where I was born, and we moved down to Florida when I was about 12, because my father opened up a restaurant in Tampa. I worked in the Laughing Cat all throughout high school, and whenever I would come home for summers or breaks, it's pretty funny. Whenever I would usually get off the plane, he would come pick me up at the airport and see me and say, "Welcome home, you're working tomorrow," and put me on a double shift or something. So he hasn't been too supportive of music the entire time. I feel like the only reason he's still okay with me being up in New York is because he knows I'm doing real estate. He's always been pretty removed from my aspirations and whatnot. There have been a couple times where I was about to put the saxophone down and just do something else. Just kind of coming up through college, there were just certain times where, just certain events happen, or you start to question why, what's the point? And you just get very discouraged. And again, it's a very hard lifestyle, just given how art is viewed in our society these days. So yeah, there have been times where I thought maybe it's in my best interest to do something else and really just keep music there as a hobby. But, I think it's important to surround yourself with people who are like-minded and who inspire you and make you want to stay on the path that you've chosen to go on. And, I'm fortunate to know some great people here in the city who really inspire me and motivate me.
What are we drinking? What is it?
JW Black.
It's the black label?
That's Johnny Walker.
3, 2, 1.
Pretty frequently, a few of my friends and I will get together and we'll listen to a bunch of different music. We'll talk about music. We'll read some poetry.
And I'm not quite sure if I remember how it happened, but we just started hanging as a trio. Before we knew it, we were inseparable.
Every once in a while, we throw in another person or two, but it's never quite the same when it's just the three of us, because we seem to be seeing eye to eye in many respects.
I got them in Chinatown because, of course, all that is made in America has been somehow produced in China. I gave the Chinese man who got them off the back of a truck $6 even though he wanted 8, which, it's a global economy, so I suppose these things are okay.
Generally, the poetry section is handled by my friend Jonathan. He's the type of person that just gets completely immersed into whatever he's doing. So he's an incredible saxophone player, he's an incredible composer, both jazz and classical. And more recently, he's gotten into poetry and he's begun to write some of his own.
This is the second movement of my Democratic Symphony for Youth Orchestra.
He's just always operating on this certain level that I think is really inspiring.
Called Individualism in the Land of Isms. Ism I the one who's free, this big openness collective? Ism he, right filled with glee, with his high-tech, high-filled materialism? She, the would-be free, skirt residing just above the knee. Said sexualism mixed with voyeurism, wrapped up on twisted cables of chauvinism. This, one big cataclysmic confusion, atom, intellectual, anti-intellectual, cultural, countercultural, deafening, slaughtering, egotismus, one country among many, excluding French, Islamic, Eastern, African. But what about Americanism? It a foreignism phobia of surefire, likewise erotic, eliminative. Isn't the King of Kings, Martin Luther, dreaming of weapon doves and life-giving guns? Isn't the truth Sojourner spoke, that ain't I a woman and isn't we dead? And ain't we all individuals with their right to be? And the critic spake to critic spoke. Aren't us by definition a criticism of this marvelous jubilee? So.
we're going to invite up another dear friend of mine. We're going to play one of his compositions. His name is Jonathan Ragonese. So can you please join us, Jonathan?
Well, sometimes I like to think that just being human means that you are creative, because we are indeed a creative species. However, if you really look at the whole of what we've created, I think we can also argue that not all of it is creative in a beautiful way. And I think that creativity should always have beauty as its underpinning. So in that case, I think we could say that maybe birds are much more creative than we are, and those things that have lasted much longer than we have and have not created any kind of ridiculous constructs for themselves. For some reason, I've always liked to put things on paper and share it with other people. And the older that I get, and the more that I see people consumed by the culture that we've created with working and doing pretty much nothing else, and being depressed and feeling lonely and feeling ostracized, I feel that it's absolutely important, and it probably has been in every period, that there are those people that are willing to feel and willing to feel as much as they can until it hurts too much. And then are able to share that with others, which it takes a very incredible openness to say, this is how I feel about life. I know it's hard to hear, but I think it can ultimately do something for you, and it does something for me. So it really comes down to sharing. And I think that if we, like I say, taught love more, we would probably see a lot more of that.